The Norilsk Uprising is recognized as the largest Gulag Breakout in history, occurring in the remote northern region of Russia in 1953. This historic event had far-reaching implications not only for the prisoners involved, the functioning of the Gulag system, but also the Soviet government at the time. The circumstances and aftermath of this uprising serve as a potent reminder of the grueling realities within the oppressive Gulag system, showcasing the determination and fortitude of those who endured its severe conditions. The uprising unfolded in an environment characterized by extreme harshness, with prisoners facing brutal living conditions, forced labor, and the constant threat of punishment. The subsequent impact of the breakout highlighted inherent flaws within the Gulag system and the challenges it presented to the Soviet authorities in maintaining control over its prisoner population. This event not only brings to light the desperation and fortitude exhibited by the prisoners, but also sheds crucial insight into the systemic issues and human rights violations perpetuated within the Gulag system. Life in the Gulag system. The harsh conditions of the Gulag system were designed to break the spirits of the prisoners. In addition to the physical challenges, the psychological toll of constant surveillance and the fear of arbitrary punishment hung heavy over the inmates. The isolation and lack of contact with the outside world further compounded the despair felt by the prisoners. Furthermore, the forced labor was often grueling and dangerous, leading to frequent injuries and illnesses that were left untreated or poorly cared for. Inadequate medical facilities and the absence of proper nutrition meant that many prisoners suffered from malnutrition and various health issues. Moreover, in the case of Norilsk, the remote location and severe weather made it an especially challenging place for inmates. The extreme cold and perpetual darkness during the long winter months were particularly punishing, with temperatures dropping well below freezing. The living quarters were often overcrowded, with inadequate heating and sanitation, exacerbating the already brutal living conditions. Additionally, the lack of proper infrastructure made everyday activities, like obtaining potable water, an arduous task for the prisoners. The environment and treatment of prisoners created a pressure cooker of desperation and suffering, ultimately leading to the Norilsk Uprising. The combination of physical hardship, inhumane living conditions, and the constant feeling of being dehumanized led to a collective breaking point for the prisoners. This environment cultivated a simmering resentment against the authorities, with the Norilsk Uprising serving as a testament to the depths of suffering and the resilience of the human spirit in the face of such extreme adversity. The Norilsk Uprising. The Norilsk Uprising began as a protest by the prisoners against the unbearable working and living conditions in the labor camps. The catalyst for the uprising was a government decision to reduce food rations, which further fueled the anger and desperation of the inmates. Beyond the harsh working and living conditions, the prisoners were enduring rampant abuse, malnutrition, and extreme temperatures, exacerbating their already dire circumstances. This decision to cut food rations was seen as the final straw, pushing the prisoners to the brink. The protest quickly turned into a full-scale revolt as the prisoners seized control of the camp, leading to clashes with the guards and the Soviet authorities. In addition to the food ration cuts, the prisoners were also protesting against the forced labor, constant surveillance, and lack of basic human rights. The uprising symbolized not only the physical struggle against the oppressive camp regime, but also the prisoners' desperate yearning for freedom and dignity. The widespread sense of hopelessness and destitution among the inmates created a volatile environment that erupted into a bold and daring uprising, catching the Soviet authorities off guard and ultimately leaving a lasting mark on the history of gulags. The aftermath. The Soviet government responded swiftly and brutally to the Norilsk Uprising, deploying military forces to suppress the revolt. The repercussions of the uprising were severe, with many prisoners being killed or recaptured, and the survivors facing even harsher punishments. As the government forces moved in, they used indiscriminate force, leading to a significant loss of life among the prisoners who had dared to rise up. The survivors were met with brutal retribution, including prolonged periods of solitary confinement, reduced rations, and increased work quotas. Additionally, the guards increased their vigilance, instituting harsher disciplinary measures and subjecting the prisoners to even more brutal treatment. The authorities further intensified their efforts to crush any form of dissent, instilling fear and a sense of hopelessness among the prisoners. The event, however, brought attention to the inhumane conditions of the Gulag system, sparking widespread outcry and shedding light on the suffering endured by countless individuals. This dire situation placed unprecedented pressure on the Soviet government to address the grievances of the prisoners, leading to some reforms and improvements in the treatment of Gulag inmates. Efforts to improve the living and working conditions within the labor camps were initiated, and there were also some attempts to review and revise the harsh policies that governed the lives of the prisoners. The Norilsk Uprising thus ultimately played a crucial role in exposing the brutal realities of the Soviet penal system and catalyzing efforts to mitigate the suffering of those trapped within its oppressive confines. Conclusion. The Norilsk Uprising stands as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of extreme adversity. It also serves as a reminder of the atrocities committed within the Gulag system and the lengths to which people will go to fight for their basic rights and dignity. The legacy of the Norilsk Uprising lives on as a symbol of courage and resistance against oppression. The events of the Norilsk Uprising not only highlight the indomitable nature of the human will, but also shed light on the oppressive conditions that existed within the Soviet labor camp system. The uprising symbolizes the collective strength of individuals in the face of oppression, inspiring future generations to stand up against injustice. Furthermore, the Norilsk Uprising underscores the power of solidarity and unity in the pursuit of justice, as prisoners from various backgrounds came together for a common cause. It showcases the inherent human desire for freedom and the refusal to succumb to dehumanizing conditions. The impact of the Norilsk Uprising reverberates through history, serving as a poignant lesson about the consequences of unchecked power and the importance of upholding fundamental human rights. This uprising underscores the universal yearning for dignity and autonomy, and the indelible mark left by those who dared to challenge oppressive systems. The legacy of the Norilsk Uprising continues to echo in the collective memory of humanity, reaffirming the enduring struggle for justice and the resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity.